All right, so
What's up, everybody?
yeah, welcome to our first podcast. My name is Griffin Scott, and this is
Rob Scott.
Son and Father podcast duo. And today, the subject of our first podcast is our top 10 best NBA players of all time. So, number one, who do you got? Got MJ?
We both got MJ.
All right. So
Now, why? Why do you got MJ as your number one? What makes him the elite of the very elite?
I think what makes him the elite of the very elite is not just his scoring, but also his defensive play. He won Defensive Player of the Year in his career.
Three times, I believe.
No, just once.
Just the once?
Yeah. Just one Defensive Player of the Year. He's a 10-time scoring champion, which is incredible. Not 9 of those were in a row, but there's like one little one in the middle where it kind of got messed up. He would have 11 if he would have played that year. 5 MVPs, 6 NBA Finals. He went to 6 NBA Finals with the Bulls, and
that's what I find most impressive.
Yeah.
About elite. You got to win when it's time to win.
Yeah.
He went to the finals 6 times.
And not only did he go to the finals
every single time.
Yeah, exactly. Not only did he go to the finals for 6 years, he won the finals MVP all those 6 years, and the Bulls won all of those championships.
Yep.
So
Jordan was a
player.
3 pick that year out of UNC. As you said, 10 scoring titles, 3 steal titles. Another thing I found impressive looking at his stats, he played 15 years total.
Yeah.
8 of those times he played all 82 games.
Yeah.
And 10 of the 15 times he played 80-plus games. So was he not only the best of the best, he was incredibly durable. So
Yeah. That's another good thing about John Stockton. He played 16 years playing 82 games. 16 years of his career. And MJ was also a 9-time All-Defensive Team.
Rookie of the Year.
Yep, Rookie of the Year. So
He did everything.
yes, he did. And he was the best in the world at...
I mean, we hear all the conversations on and especially you, because you check it out. We hear all the conversations about who's the GOAT, and it's between LeBron and Jordan all the time.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we clearly both have Jordan number 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, number 2. We both also have this one.
Yep.
And it might be a little bit of a debate, but we're not putting LeBron at number 2.
No.
We're putting Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at number 2.
Yep.
And why, you might ask? Again, most points in NBA history. Granted, he did play 20 years, but he also was a 19-time All-Star. And the 1 year that he wasn't an All-Star, he played like 68 games and averaged like 26 points and 12 and a half rebounds. So definitely should have been a 20-time All-Star. But he also has the most MVPs of all time.
6.
Yep, 6. And I bet you guys didn't know this. He also has just as many championship wins as Michael Jordan.
Yep, 6
They
titles
both
too.
have 6 titles.
And how many times? I don't have it noted here. Oh, 2-time final MVP.
Yeah.
He was a guy that I heard, like when I listened to stuff about him, he won all the way up the ladder, right from elementary school to right to the end of his career. So he didn't seem to be one of those guys that had learning curves. He just was the best right away and didn't stop being the best, didn't stop winning right until he got to the end. 2 scoring titles, 4 block titles. You love the rebounds. Tons of rebounds. 11 all-defensive. Rookie of the Year as well. 15-time All-NBA. 19 All-Star appearances, although you saw that last one. I think it was like he had 7 points a season or something.
It was pretty much...
That was probably a fan write-in.
Yeah, just voted in because of what he did during his career.
Game changer with the skyhook.
Yeah.
What they call to be the most unstoppable shot that nobody seems to do. But yeah, I agreed with you. Like, you know this stuff better than I do, and you talked about Kareem all the time. I don't know where he lies, not just on this list, but your favorite players of all time.
Yeah, Kareem is my favorite player of all time.
So you kind of turned me on to him, to how good he was. So anyway.
Yeah. So let's move on to number 3. So at number 3, we have LeBron.
Yep. I got LeBron too.
Yep. So he's actually an even 27 points on his career, and he's moving up the scoring list. I think he's 3rd all time in most total points. Probably gonna get number 1.
Averaging 27 per season.
Yep, 27 per season on his career. And what's interesting is not only is he 35, 36, but he's also still like a top 3, top 5 player in the NBA.
Yes.
So that's crazy. And last year he led the league in assists per game. So that's good.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible to find out. I think I noted that. So what I like to say about LeBron, here's what I don't like about LeBron. I actually considered putting him 4th on this list, but I changed my mind. So he has 4 titles. He has 4 MVPs. I want to see how many times he was the final. So 4 finals MVPs. So every time he won, he was the king of the court. Again, that's one of the most impressive stats to me. That's one of the things I looked for in this list when I was making my list. Not just how many times were they winners, how many times was their team champions, but how many times were they the best on the floor for the best team. And he did it every time. You know, you watch him. He's just one of those guys like Jordan that you give him the ball and your team is always in it. There's always a chance. It doesn't matter if you're down by 15. He's going to figure it out.
So you started saying what you don't like about LeBron?
Oh.
So what's that thing you don't like?
Well, I don't like that LeBron is a team hopper that jumps from stars to star teams looking for the titles. So when he has 4 titles, I actually don't rate them as high as Jordan's 6 titles because I like the guys that stuck with their team. I like the old school guys that stick with their team and grow with their team. LeBron seemed to be a team hopper. However, he did win that one year. I don't know what year it was with Cleveland when he had a bunch of stink around him and he pulled them to the title. So that, on the other end of what I just said, is incredibly impressive that he didn't have a whole lot of talent around him and he still did it.
Yeah, but then when he was done with Cleveland for the first couple of years of his career, he jumped straight to Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and then they won.
For 3 seasons, they won 2?
I think so. I'm not sure about that. But
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2 out of 3. And they lost to Dallas, I think.
Yeah, and one thing I don't like to say about LeBron is that, believe it or not, he has the most turnovers of all time, total turnovers, and the most turnovers averaged per game in a career.
Yeah.
So that's not good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. What's interesting about him is he's such a big man. What is he, 6'8"?
Yeah, 6'8".
6'8", and the main ball handler. So I guess you can expect the main ball handlers to have a few more turnovers, but impressive at 6'8" to be that kind of ball handler.
Yeah.
All right.
And he's, believe it or not, just like Michael Jordan, amazing scorer, and has made 6 all-defensive teams. So, Great player. Number 4, Wilt Chamberlain.
I got Wilt, too, at number 4.
Yep. So, the reason why we have Wilt is that he is tied for the number 1 most points average per game on a career, 30.1, and 23 rebounds a game on his career.
It's insane.
That's the most average per game, and he has the most total rebounds. So
to see the 30 points per game, 23 rebound average is mind-blowing. I don't know how to look at it. I don't know how to take it in terms of the talent around him. Like, he clearly was so much better than everybody else.
Yeah. Well, not by his time, from what most people said, he was the best, but Bill Russell was also up there too as the best player of that time. But keep going.
Well, Wilt won 2 titles. So you got to wonder, to have those type of incredible numbers, 540 field goal percentage, along with those numbers, terrible free throw percentage, as a lot of big men are, 5'11". He had 4 MVPs, but just 2 titles in 15 years. To be that dominant, shouldn't he have more? Shouldn't he led his team like a Jordan, like a LeBron?
Who, Will Chamberlain?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And won Finals MVP.
Yeah. But, okay.
Only one. Oh, wait. Sorry, I missed that right. I thought only 1 scoring title. LeBron only had the 1. 7 scoring titles for Wilt.
So, why I don't think he had that many titles is because pretty much every year they went into the finals, who was he going up against? Bill Russell, John Havlicek, Sam Jones, all those incredible players who were on the Celtics, and they were the people. That was the team winning all the championships. So, yeah. So let's move on to number 5. All right. So moving on to number 5, we both put Magic Johnson. So.
And I don't know how I feel about this, to be honest.
Magic Johnson?
At 5, he could be anywhere from 5 to 8.
Okay.
Go ahead, but tell your thing and I'll tell you mine.
Magic Johnson wasn't as good of a scorer as he was a passer.
19.5 points.
Yeah. And his scoring also didn't light up the gym as much as his smile did. But he did.
Terrific. Hold on. Terrific shooter, though. 520 field goal and 848 free throw.
Yeah.
So he didn't hog the ball, but he had all kinds of stars around him, right?
He did. For the 80s, he had Kareem, who was one of the best players of the 80s.
James Worthy.
James Worthy, too, who was a mega star back then.
Is this a sure number 5 for you?
Sure,
for
number
sure.
5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say a for sure number 5, maybe number 4, but I don't think he's. Yeah, I would
5 titles, 3 MVPs.
Yeah, 5 titles, 3 MVPs, 12 All-Star appearances.
4-time assist champ.
Yeah, he has the most assist average per game on his career, 11.2 assists per game. But he's also a good rebounder. He averaged about 7 rebounds a game on his career and 19 points. So
yeah, he's one of those guys I love that does everything. Over 7 rebounds, 11 assists, almost 20 points, like just filling the stat page. I love those guys. LeBron's another guy who did that. And Magic, again, just to point to the thing that I love, of those 4 championships, Magic was a 3-time Finals MVP. So, again, the best guy at the best time when you needed him.
Yeah. And in the 80s, he was really battling against Larry Bird for the best player of the 80s. So he had to work extra hard for that.
And he missed 4 years of we could call it his prime. I don't know necessarily his prime. 32 to 35. He missed those years, came back for 1 season, I believe.
Yeah,
so,
and then he retired.
His numbers probably would have been a little fatter. He might have had another MVP. He might have had another title.
I would say he might have the second most assists of all time, probably.
Yeah. So, you know what? You're right. When you look at his numbers that in-depth, great steal guy, too, almost 2 per game. A lot of turnovers, though. 4 turnovers.
Yeah, and the
game.
reason...
But again, a major ball handler. Another guy who redefined the position, because what was he, 6'9"? 6'9" at a point guard? At that time, was that not unheard of?
Yeah.
So, I mean, another one of the
Pretty sure the second tallest point guard of all time, I think just right after Ben Simmons. And he was just...
Simmons is, what's he?
6'10".
Okay.
And a point guard. So, Magic Johnson, obviously just an incredible player. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to
numero 6.
All right. This is where we change a little bit. I got Larry Bird. Who you got?
Bill Russell.
Okay. Tell me why you got Bill Russell over Larry Bird.
Because I could not put Larry Bird over Bill Russell any day in my existence. Because Bill Russell, compare to Larry Bird's stuff. So Larry Bird played, I guess they played the exact same amount of years. They both played 13 years. Bill Russell was the best player in the league 5 times. He won 5 MVPs compared to Larry Bird's 3. They both have 12 All-Star appearances, but here's where it changes a lot. So Larry Bird was on the team with Kevin McHale and just incredible team.
Yeah, he had a great supporting cast.
And he only won 3 championships, whereas to Bill Russell won 11. And he was always the best player on his team by far. He also has 22.5 rebounds a game. Wasn't a great scorer. I can't give him that. He was not a great scorer. And the reason he never won a Defensive Player of the Year is because the year he retired, that was the year they brought in the Defensive Player of the Year. So he had no...
Oh, was it?
Yeah, no chances to win that.
All right, let me break down why I picked Larry Bird over Bill Russell. First of all, I'm a numbers guy, and I love to know you're a good shooter. Bill Russell was not a good shooter. 440 field goal percentage, 561 at the line, 15.1 per game in 42 minutes a game. Now, incredible rebounder, 22.5 rebounds a game, 11 championships, almost twice anybody else, 12 All-Stars, 5 MVPs. So those numbers alone, the 5 MVPs and the 11 titles, you're definitely top 10 in my mind. But Larry Bird was a 3-time MVP. As you said, they both played 13 years. 3-time champion, 2-time finals MVP. I don't think Bill Russell was a finals MVP. I may not have noted it. I don't know if you know that for sure. But an incredible shooter. 496 field goal percentage for Bird. 376 at the 3-point line when 3 points weren't really a thing. 886 from the free throw line. 24.3 points a game. 10 rebounds a game. 6.3 assists. 1.7 steals. Almost a block a game. A stat stuffer. And part of it is my bias in that I've never watched Bill Russell play, and I just don't know enough about him. So I could be underselling him.
And Larry Bird is also the third closest person to a 50-40-90 shooting. So that's also incredible.
And Russell also played in the 50s, or he was drafted
60s.
Second overall in the 1956, so he played late 50s, 60s. I'm not sure the talent was as strong then overall, depth-wise, I mean, compared to Bird's era. So for those reasons, I notched Bird just a little bit above Russell. But I mean, how do you look away from 11 championships and 5 MVPs? Now, if he won 11 championships and 1 MVP, no MVPs, it would have been a different story for me because I would have seen him then more as a role player. But he actually was MVP 5 times, so I mean that's incredible too. So yeah, maybe I'm underselling Russell and he should be ahead of Bird. But
well, Bill Russell, if you were counting, let's say you made a top 5 list, best players of all time, just for their championships, Bill Russell would be the best all time, and Sam Jones would be number 2. Sam Jones usually isn't even put in the top 10, so obviously championships mean incredible amounts of stuff, and Bill Russell played a huge part in championships, and but if you're winning 11 championships and don't put in any effort, then What's the point, really? You're just flexing all the rings on your fingers, but you didn't really do anything to help. That's why Bill Russell was so good, because he was always like the best on those teams. So let's move on to number 7.
We got Turner in the house. No, we're on to number 8 because we just kind of did 6 and 7 right there. Because you got Bird at 7, right?
I got Bird at 7.
Okay, so we're right there. So let's move on to number 8. I got Tim Duncan. Who you got?
Tim Duncan.
All right, Tim Duncan. Now, Turner, you got to move out of the way, my son, because you're cutting in front of the camera.
All right.
Okay.
Number 8. So Tim Duncan was just recently inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame.
The big fundamental.
Yep. Just the last Hall of Fame thing. 15-time All-Star, 5-time NBA champion, 3-time Finals MVP. He got one taken away from him when Kawhi Leonard won it, and then another one, which I don't know who else won it. He also won 2 MVPs. He was a 15-time All-NBA player, like on the All-NBA team 15 times, and on the All-Defensive teams 15 times. So, yeah. Great player.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like some guys just aren't flashy. Tim Duncan was one of those guys who just wasn't flashy. It's not a sexy pick. It's not, to be honest, it's not mind-blowing statistics. 19 points a game, which is great. 10.8 rebounds, terrific. 3 assists.
He is a big man, so they're not really expected.
2.2 blocks per game, 506 shooting percentage, couldn't hit from the line, couldn't hit from the three-point line, couldn't hit from free throw. But 2 MVPs, 15 All-Stars, five titles, as you said, picked first overall in 1997, 15-time All-Defensive, 15-time All-NBA, Rookie of the Year. So he's one of those guys who just isn't super flashy, but won everything.
Yeah.
So he deserves to be there.
Yeah, there's almost like not even that huge explanation. As you said, he's not flashy. He's just there. He's just in the top 10.
Yeah.
I've never seen any list that put him out of the top 10 unless they were older before he hit his good prime and stuff. So
okay.
So yeah, let's move on to number 9.
Okay.
And moving on to number 9, we both have Kobe. So
he barely made. I'm going to be honest. He barely made my list. He didn't make my list before we started this. I sat down just before we did this, and I didn't have him on my list, and that's going to shock a lot of people. Going to think I'm stupid. So let me start. Let me tell you why.
Yeah,
first of all,
you start, because
Kobe Bryant, 5 titles. You're almost on the list just right there. 5 titles, 15 All-Star appearances.
But 5 titles. Let me just cut you off for a sec.
Go ahead.
5 titles. And the thing I don't like about the 5 titles and Kobe winning them is that he mocked his teammates for not being good enough or loyal enough to him. And he didn't even let his teammates wear Kobe's if they weren't good enough. Kobe shoes.
Really?
And guess what? He only won 2 Finals MVPs.
2 of the 5.
Yeah, 2 of the 5. So there was other players on the team, obviously Shaq, who just showed up more than he did in the bigger moments. So.
And again, I'm a stat guy. I like shooting. I like the percentages. Kobe was a .447 field goal shooter.
44.
And I don't like that. I hold that against people.
And only 32
33% from 3.
Yeah. And
great from the line.
83?
Yeah.
Pretty good, I guess.
So, because what that says to me is he's a high volume shooter. So he averaged 25 points a game, which among these guys is 4th or 5th on the list that we're putting out here. But he's one of the worst shooters. So he's putting up a lot of shots. He's hogging the ball, dominating the ball, which again is fine.
He
has
Kobe.
5 titles, so I'm not going to slag him for that. He has 15 All-Star appearances.
I think he has 18. I have 18 on here.
18 All-Star appearances?
Yeah, I have 18. You have 15. So something must have gone wrong there. But
Okay.
anyway,
5.2 rebounds, 4.7 assists. Again, those aren't numbers like LeBron, for instance, is 27, 7.4, 7.4. Now, obviously, we have LeBron ranked higher, and those numbers were better. But I would like to see from Kobe. I actually was a little underwhelmed by Kobe's numbers because Kobe is a mythological figure that people love, that people build up, that people think is just a sensational superstar. And he is a superstar. I'm not doubting that.
well, if you're
But
in the
he's
top 10, you're a sensational
Yeah,
superstar.
I'm just a little underwhelmed. I was a little underwhelmed. When I looked at his numbers and I sat down and looked at everything, I was a little underwhelmed. He was a 13th pick and only a 2-time scoring champ in 20 seasons. Again, when you think of Kobe, you think more. I was surprised that he was only a 2-time scoring champ.
Although the funny thing is, this is the exact same thing that I didn't notice before. Well, I knew with LeBron and MJ, but more MJ. So, when I looked at their stats and their accomplishments in their career, I realized that all of them. So Kobe has made the All-Defensive Team 12 times.
Yeah, to his credit. So that's well-rounded.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's a star on the offensive end, star on the defensive
MJ,
end.
LeBron, and Kobe are known for mostly their scoring, but they're also incredibly defensive beasts. So
Yeah. I do give him that. He's well-rounded that way. On both ends of the floor, he played and gave it all. And I loved listening. Like, I'll listen to some Kobe stories about people, particularly when they talk about how he practiced. He would get up in the morning, go to the gym for 2 hours, go work out for 2 hours, go b-ball for another 2 hours or so, then go back to the gym, and he did it over and over. And one of my favorite stories was from Dwayne Wade. I just heard this recently. Dwayne said he was watching Kobe on the floor. This was early in Wade's career. And Kobe came out on the warm up, was about 20 minutes, and he did the same move over and over. And Dwayne said, "All right, this is what we're going to see from him this game." And that's what they saw from him all game, and they still couldn't stop it. So to me, that kind of dedication, that kind of focus, that kind of drive to just do one thing over and over, do it so many times to get it right repeatedly, almost obsessively. I love that. So I do appreciate Kobe's work ethic.
yeah, all right.
Number 10, the last one on the top 10 all-time NBA list.
This is the one I don't agree with the most of what you put,
I'm way off on this one.
in my opinion.
Yep, go ahead.
You put
No, tell me who you put first.
okay. I put Hakeem Olajuwon, which is usually Shaq is usually at 10 on most of the top websites and stuff that you could search up and find. But Hakeem Olajuwon's usually put at 11 or 12. But I think Hakeem Olajuwon was just more dominant than Shaq. Like, when they faced each other, Shaq's obviously a beast. He's a monster. But from what I've heard, Hakeem Olajuwon stopped Shaq. So that's why I'm putting him there. He's a 12-time All-Star, 9-time Defensive Player of the Year, most blocks of all time, 3.1 per game on his career. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time rebound champ, 3-time block champ, 2-time Finals MVP in both of his
Championships.
championships.
Again, amazing.
Yep. 12-time All-NBA, and 1-time MVP.
2 defensive. I went with... Now, let me tell you who I went with. Just let me explain it first. I, of course, went with the Dream as well. I thought about him. I thought about Shaq. Kind of similar numbers. Hakeem was 22 points, 11 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 3.1 blocks, 1.7 steals. And Shaq was 23.7, 11, 2.5, 2.3 blocks. Very, very similar numbers in that sense.
That's another thing I forgot to mention about Hakeem Olajuwon. He's number 1 in all-time blocks and top 10 in all-time steals.
Yep.
As a center, so that's great.
And I also thought about in that place, Oscar Robertson, who incredible numbers, 25.7, 7.5, 9.5, great shooter, only had 1 title, 1 MVP. So those guys all kind of made the top 10 for me, but I crossed all of them out. And I went with a player who is currently playing today, Kevin Durant. And I said it, and this guy was like, "What, dude? You're nuts." But let me tell you why. Kevin Durant, out of all this top 10 list, averaging 27 points a game, that is third of these top 10 guys. So an incredible scorer. 7.1 rebounds, 4.1 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, and a terrific shooter. 493 field goal, 382 3-point, 882 from the line,
49.
2 championships, 1 MVP in 12 years, Rookie of the Year, 4-time scoring champ, 2 times he also, again, 2 titles, both of them finals MVP. So 9-time All-NBA. So I don't see why, and we've seen him play. We've seen him play against the Raptors. The guy is just scary to watch. Scary good. He can hit from anywhere.
Yeah.
His game, he can handle the ball like a point guard. His game is just full. So he won out for me. I thought overall his numbers were impressive. 1 MVP, 2 titles, could have more there, but MVP finals, both of his titles. Finals MVP, both of the titles. So he beat those guys out for me. Why do you not like Kevin Durant?
I love Kevin Durant. He's probably my second favorite player in the NBA right now. But let me tell you why he's not in my top 10. First of all, he's just not as legendary.
No, he doesn't have the myth around him. He doesn't have the Kobe myth.
No.
Doesn't even have the Steph Curry myth.
He has better stats than Kobe Bryant, for sure. Not more MVP. Same amount of MVPs.
Yes, Kobe's only got 1.
Yeah.
Shaq's only got 1. Akeem's only got 1.
Yeah. I don't know. He is pretty good. I would put him right outside of top 10, 12, 13. But not number 10.
Okay.
There's just something that I feel that he just doesn't belong there yet.
All right.
I think at the end of his career, definitely in my top 10.
All right, so we got a minute left, so why don't you tell me some of the guys that just missed the cut?
Just missed the cut. So, we got Shaq, Oscar Robertson, Steph Curry. This one will be very highly hated on because he's not even in most people's top 25. Bob Pettit. Let me tell you why.
And terrific numbers.
26.5 points a game, 16 rebounds,
Incredible.
2 MVPs, and just incredible player.
1 title.
And then KD is just outside there too.
Moses
Malone too, yep.
I threw down guys like Allen Iverson, who was a great shooter. I think he outscored Bryant and Durant for his career, but anyway, he didn't make it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching our first podcast. I hope you guys enjoy.
Maybe we'll do it again.
Yeah, and there'll be more coming.
All right, thank you.